We've got the Oculus Quest 2 there. That's right, it was the Oculus back then when I got it. The box actually says that. And now we're unboxing the Meta Quest 3 because mixed reality is even better, right? Looks clean, white design, black text, very clean. Is 128 gigabytes enough? I'm sure it will be. I'll be mostly using mine for the PC. So looks like we've got instructions here to rip the side. Can only do this once, so let's do it right. 12 second takes here. That's done. Satisfying. We have to do the same on the other side? Yes, we do. So we've got the same thing going on the other side this time. This way on the camera. And now it is tainted and no longer virgin. Let's lift the box here. Again, similar design with the other unboxing for the strap-on from Zyber. So check that one out. The sleeve and then brown box, just like same sort of style going on. So it's a matching even though it's a different brand. But to say, that money when it comes to this thing's expensive. I forgot why I just dropped out. That was terrible. That was terrible. Let's do it again. Boom. So we have the app scan there, which I've already got the app installed, so I managed the same app. So there's that. And then there's basic instructions how to put it on. I can zoom in for you guys there. In case you want to scan. Because, you know, why not? It's not unique. It's not a unique code or anything. So yeah, feel free to scan it if you want to, guys. Got it? Good. All right, and then there's some instructional pictures there. Turn it on, the power, strap it on your head, pull the strap part back, and you're good to go. That person looks kind of angry though, don't they? They look unimpressed. I don't know, I'm kind of worried now. So let's zoom back out. Zoom back in instead. I'm gonna have to turn it around. So my space. Okay, sweet. We're gonna look at the boring bits first, which is the cables. It's not boring, it's necessary, but you know what I mean. We'll take these controller and the headset part out. Underneath, where's it here? This part here. We have all of our cableness. Nothing underneath? No, it's stuck to the box actually, so that's cool. Alright, so now I've got that out of the way. Did this. I say it says the branding on the front at least. But you know, it's like, it's the Greta Thunberg school of boxes now where you've got to save the world in paper, so things can sometimes be a little bit more underwhelming than it could be. As this is a slide box. It's almost like you're getting a watch. There we go. So you do get, as with the two, a plug. Let's zoom in a bit. It's like so. Obviously, if you're in America, you'll get like an American plug. This is a European, British plug style. Got some sticky there. Very shiny, very clean. It's a plug, USB-C input. And we'll take this here. I wonder if it's pre-charged actually or not. And this is our USB-C cable. USB-C to USB-C. So obviously it's not very long actually, the length. That attaches to the plug, one end. And you can pull it into anything that's anything that has a slot like that. You can use it as a charging or to connect to a PC as well. So yeah, and then this connects to the end of the headset, which is preview the side here. Don't know if it's pre-charged or not, we might find out in a moment. So that's the plug that you get. You don't get any actual, like, what it would be a PC connection cable. So I have a video on the things that you need for VR, because this is not all the things that you need. Obviously, that's why we've got the strap and facial interface for when you those sweaty moments, like I'm almost sweating now, and etc. So look out for that video as well. There'll be all kinds of VR related stuff and mixed reality, augmented reality stuff. So make sure you subscribe and like if you like it, if you want. Otherwise, you know, you don't need to. But it helps, so do it. And leave a comment as well. So this is all just like warnings and different stuff going on here. And it's got getting the right fit. It's turned into Wii Fit at this rate. and other warnings about pass-through mode, different things going on there. Lots of warnings. I'm getting nervous. And more warnings, all in English. Oh my gosh. I'm getting nervous, bruh. Extended use route. More warnings. How many warnings does VR need? Look how many warnings there is here, guys. How are any of you gonna get this via my Amazon link with all these warnings? This is nuts. It's just pages and pages of warnings. I don't want to use it anymore now. I'm terrified. That was just pages of warnings. I'm gonna die using it at this rate. Lens spacing. Okay, this is more pleasant. This opens up. It's more pictures. This is less scary now. I feel better. Alright, I think we'll use it now then. You got more things you can scan. I got the app installed already from owning the Quest 2. So you guys can see what's going on here. Battery cover removal. Hand gestures. Had to get the menu. Like so. And then don't put these lenses in direct sunlight. It's probably the same for the PlayStation VR 2, which we'll also be covering on this channel as well. Battery signals. What's on the back? More pictures, including setup. So just like inside the box, but a little bit more extended. And it shows you where all of the things are. And the buttons and what different things are, basically where the volume is and all that. So it's handy. Audio jack, that's good for especially sometimes capturing audio for like PC and so forth in certain scenarios. And the controllers, lovely. All that you need. It's kind of a manual. Not exactly an old school game manual, but it'll do the job. So that's wicked. Alright. So that's those parts. Now we're going to check out the controllers. Because we must. Let's do a comparison, shall? I'm back and I brought friends. This is over 10 minutes. Wow. It's definitely going to separate the videos here. So this is the Quest 2. Controls the rings on top. Similar stick and buttons by the looks of things. And here's our new friends. Say hello to my hair. Hey. And yeah, I think I got it right here. Right, let's see how it feels different. It looks great, obviously. I think this looks really good, actually. Sticks feel good. Buttons feel good. Yep. Got a decent weight to them. We should have batteries as well, so I think they're in there. So let's just slide it down and have a look. Have to push this down first. By looks of things. Right there. Yeah, we go. Yep, we've got batteries here. They put these in there so the batteries don't run inadvertently. So I won't pull it out just yet. They're not rechargeable. They never give you rechargeable batteries. They're basic alkaline. So do not try and recharge these. Otherwise, things may explode and you may die. Or someone else will die or lose, or probably won't die, just lose a finger. So don't do that. But there you go. Hey, Bright. I've never heard of that brand before, ever. Is it Chinese or something? At least it's bright rather than dark. That came off pretty relatively easily. So let's check the batteries in the other one as well. Push down and then slide down. Yep. Very bright. So I like the look. I like the feel. Yeah, man. This is ready to do some gaming and productivity stuff. Get to the other ones. They were also nice, but obviously bigger with the rings. I think the rings were used for something, as in detection and stuff like that, if I'm not wrong. But they did away with that. It's still got the black on the top. One thing I noticed, is that like a touch thing or something there? Or was that a design just there? Can't remember. You see how much I use my Quest 2. But yeah, there we go. That's the controllers. And the straps are here as well. Nice straps. There's a lot of straps and strap-ons when it comes to VR, isn't there? Let's break it. Oh, I thought I broke it. So yeah, there you go. It goes on like that. Actually, normally you'd push it up. So I think. And put your hand in. And then bring it down. then you can't smash up your television or anything else. See? Hands-free VRing. It's the future, man. Like AI. So yeah, we've got the straps. We've got the controllers. The only thing is, how do you put these ones down? Because these ones, it was easy to put down. You just do like this. How do these ones sit down? I guess it just rests on the table like that. I guess it just rests like that or on the floor. Because that's fine. You can't really put them up. Yeah. They've got to rest like that. How do you rest yours if you've got yours? And if you haven't got yours, remember to use my Amazon, because it's going to cost you no more money. You know, you might as well, so I can make more videos. All right, that's the controllers. Now, we're finally going to check out the main star of the show. This doesn't come with it, unfortunately. This is the Quest 2 facial interface I showed you earlier. The headset. Let's zoom out a little bit. It's a little bit bigger. And we've got a lot of things to look at here real quickly. So, let's get the actual Quest 2 as well. I'm going to try and do some comparison. I ain't got a lot of space to work with here, but one of the things is, gosh, this thing is huge. But let me try and close this up. That's as far as it goes, and the interface is coming off. Alright. This is the Quest 2. One thing I noticed is there's no cameras on the front. And that's because obviously this one is dealing with mixed reality now, which means we have to have a nice pass-through experience. This one was kind of black and white pass-through. I think PlayStation VR is similar as well with the pass-through. This one has, what, 2 cameras? It's like, well, 4, depending on how much you count in there. And then like a sensor on the front, I would say there. Unless it's also cameras, I'm not sure. But it's pretty sweet. That's like the volume button there, which is a dial now instead of a button. No, wait there. That might be the lens, actually. That's the lens adjuster, I believe. I think this is the volume right here. Yep. We've still got the cameras on the outsides as well. Or at least 2 of them. And then that's like a power button right there. Showed earlier, that's where the connection wire will go in. Either you're connecting to like a PC or a socket, or the plug will go in there. And let's get this part off. Comparing against the Quest 2, I thought I was gonna drop it in. It's the power connection there. Is that an audio jack? I didn't see the audio jack on the no, wait there. Yeah. Power button there. Power indicator there, I think. I'm rightly. And then cameras on the fronts. Now the Quest 2 is going for super cheap as well, so I have a link for that for you guys as well. In case you don't want mixed reality just yet, this is still a great device. And Black Friday will bring about sales definitely for the Quest 2, if not for the free. So be sure to use my links again. Appreciate y'all. Yeah. So enough looking at that. Let's get this out. We'll get this off. Like so. It's giving us some instructions here. Let's get it out. So I don't want to rip it. There we go. That's off. Now we have it like that. Where's the actual dial? So I guess you just use this now. This doesn't have a dial, this version. You just use this instead and you just tighten it. Interesting. Instead of a turning dial. Obviously with the Zyber Elite strap, it will be using a dial instead, which is interesting. So again now, see this here, the fabric here, it says fabric. It's going to be comfy, but when you're sweating and all that kind of stuff is where the problem comes in. So that's why it's kind of recommended that you either try your Quest 2 one, which I need to confirm, or otherwise whether that's a thing that works or not. It doesn't fit perfect, and I heard it can overheat it and stuff like that. And it can also make it think that you're you've took it off when you haven't. Can mess with the sensors, but that's the ideas it goes over. there's not a lot of versions available at the moment that are third party. So that's the problem. And this one that I've ordered, it's only got 1 rating, so I don't know if it's going to even work. But I'll test it out for you guys and let you guys know. So we're going to get these off, obviously. The lenses. And there. And yeah, just a second. Alright, just protecting against any noise in the passage there because I think the mic will pick it up. So yeah, that's our lenses. We want to put any direct light in there. And yeah, again, it's a lot, it feels a lot, it looks a lot smaller, doesn't it, actually? Yeah, it's a lot smaller. It's a lot lighter. It's going in the right direction. This is very heavy, actually, in comparison. Sheesh. So let's put that aside. This feels a lot lighter. This feels going to be a lot easier to wear for a lot longer. I guess the thing to do now is to say, aside from it looking very nice, actually, let's just check the star thing. It's meant to affect the lens position, is it? Let me just see if it's doing it. I think it is. Yeah, the lens is moving, so that is a lens movement dial adjuster. So it's like how wide your eyes and face are, basically. Remember I was saying earlier in the other part that might not be in this video, which is about having a big, massive head. I think that was the Zyber Elite Strap accessory unbox. That'd be a separate video because it's already 19 minutes. My unboxes always take forever. Let me know if you guys hate that. So yeah, power. I think we covered all the buttons there. Now where's the actual audio jack? Is that the audio jack? I don't think it is, right? It's meant to be a 3AM jack. We could looked in the thing anyway. It's in the actual manual thing, so it's my fault not looking properly. Okay, let's go and try it on. It looks great though. I like the look of it. Let's switch views. Now let's switch up the camera. And this camera brings out all of the features and infirmities. It's a gift for the beauty, so it's a problem for me. All right, now we're gonna try it on. And then I'm gonna lead you guys into... Oh, okay, this is really loose. I'm gonna lead you guys into something interesting. Hold up. Got a bit of a smell. Wait, this just doesn't feel right at all. It feels really off. I've done something wrong here. Let's do that. And let's try it again. This is really, really off. Like, really off, guys. Obviously, I've got to look in the... Oh, here we go. It's a bit better. Yeah. Bit better. I just need to go into the manual. Oh, there we go. That's better. Yeah. All right. It's looking on cam, but feels good. Yeah, it feels much, much lighter. Let me see how it feels on the forehead. Oh, it's actually quite hard to put on the forehead like the other one, but you know what? Yes, that's like way more comfortable. Oh my god. Because when you put it on before on the 2, oh my, would it hurt? Like, it feels like it's more going to drop off your head when you've got it like lean like that. So obviously with the Zyber Elite Strap, should be a separate video now, and then it'll be a combined version. We'll be able to just lift it like that and have it like that on our head. But with this cloth standard strap that we've got here, the non-elite strap, it kind of is a little bit more tricky to rest it on your head like that. But fitting wise, it fits well and it feels comfortable. I'm not getting much light leak at all. There's a tiny bit on my nose area, but I probably just need to adjust things in it. Yeah, this feels a lot more comfortable though. I feel like I could wear this longer and stuff. What do you guys think? How do I look? Do I not look like a complete nerd? Well, overall, it's about what you expect. I mean, for the price, obviously, you kind of probably want a little bit more pizzazz or extras, but it's very clean. It's a shame it doesn't have a silicone, what do you call it, with it. And it's a shame that we're getting seemingly nickel and dime for every accessory. In these times where everything's so expensive, it's crazy how much more they're charging for any accessory you can get. So I'm going to be showing you guys all the accessories that I found that are cheaper and letting you know if they're worth it or not and if they work. I'm already hot in here, so there's going to be a lot of sweat going on without that silicone. Sheesh. Ugh. Man. Ooh. Okay, let's review the Quest 3 by Meta. I'm going to help you figure out whether this is worth the investment in addition to or in spite of getting the PlayStation VR 2 as well. Maybe one or the other or both. Incidentally, I also have a review video for the PlayStation VR 2, so check that out as well because it will help you figure out the decision even more easily, as well as a comparison video that pits the PlayStation VR 2 and the Quest together in a battle of differences, so that you can compile the differences together and help them come together and become one, maybe. That would be at the end of this video, as well as in the pinned comment as ever. Oh, I'll also be scoring the Quest 3 out of 10, as is traditional in really embracing the art of the video review. But let me give you a brief on the Quest 3 itself. Ignore my dangly part coming off as a custom Chinese thing. It works, but it kind of doesn't stay on. So it boasts a sleeker design, as you can see, mixed reality capabilities with color pass-through, full color pass-through cameras. It's also a bump in resolution and up to 4K to bring more lifelike virtual reality to your virtual reality life. The Touch Plus controllers also have removed the ring design, as you have with PlayStation VR 2 and even the Quest 2. Another benefit with the Quest 3 is it's not just about the awesome gaming, but you can also do things like exercise or balance your checkbook, mod it and do some other weird, cool Vision Pro-like things without spending $2.5 grand to do it. A myriad of things, work, play, create, you name it. Let's begin. So I'm just gonna say it, mixed reality is a game changer. It is something you have to experience. It makes interacting with the UI, even right from the start, just really cool. It's having this kind of floating screen in front of you with your reality at the same time. It's really sick. Also, it has finger tracking, so you can interact with this environment that you're in with your fingers, so you look like a brat, but you know, it's really cool. You're like, and you can do stuff like this to make it do different things, and you know, you could yeah, it's really dope. Feels really tactile and futuristic. It feels like you're in Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever stars you're into. Again, you look goofy to the outside world, but it's VR. You're allowed to look goofy. Now let's converse that with negatives here. There is no eye tracking on the Quest 3. There's also no headset vibration, like, oh, I'm gonna take this off, by the way. This keeps coming off, so silly. There's also no head vibration like our friend, the PlayStation VR 2. And I like things that vibrate, personally. We also don't get any HDR support, and I'm a big fan of HDR. It just gives more vivid colorness and brightness to the things that you're seeing, as is the case here with the lens not having it. You know, you can see my notes and the thing there. You are deprived of that with this device, despite the cost and everything, which is interesting. Now, apparently it's something to do with the fact that these are what they call pancake lenses, which are better in every other way apart from the fact that they don't support HDR, apparently. And also, because it doesn't support eye tracking, it means that it can't use features like foveated rendering, which in simplicity means that aside from applications of like letting a character know that you're looking at them, so you can have like a female character go, look at me when I'm talking to you, which is not possible without the eye tracking system, obviously. It also allows for things like increasing performance, because you can focus on what part of the scene is looking best based on where you're looking with your eyes, rather than just the direction you're facing, which is not possible without some kind of internal eye tracking going on within, which this device doesn't support. One of the things I've always been impressed with the Meta series line of devices is the updates. The updates are just crazy. I think the first time we had finger tracking, it wasn't even a feature originally in the device itself. So, you know, I never thought there'd be updates to that level. And that's one of the things of the updates with Meta Quest devices. They're just kind of some of the most crazy updates, you know. The most recent one being in October of last year, October 2023, which I believe was the full body tracking in VR AI legs. Wow. So you can have like sexy legs in VR, all at no extra costs, you know. This is something that Meta keep doing. They keep updating as much as they can. They don't seem to be holding back on the features and things that you can do with the device just so they can sell you another version necessarily. You know, they'll update it pretty well. In fact, in our community poll, you guys all agreed as that was one of the biggest areas that impressed you most with Meta Quest 3 Quest devices generally, is the updates. It's a big deal, so it's worth mentioning. Also, flexibility. Flexibility is key with Quest devices, offering both tethered, if you plug in here where the USB-C port is, and non-tethered or wireless experiences. The high visual settings of PC VR and Steam VR, etc., OpenAR, OpenVR, are game-changing, especially when it's combined with freemium mods like the Flat2 VR's UE2 VR, I think is the right term. Watch out for videos for that if I haven't already released them, which basically takes Unreal Engine 4 and 5 games and makes them work with devices like this on the PC, and it seems pretty freaking remarkable. That's a big deal, because there's something like, I think it was like some 10,000 or 11,000 games that are now able to be played in VR, which is pretty crazy. Obviously, there's varying levels of support in terms of how the controls work within the game, or if it's just out body or first person and so forth. But the fact is that you have the choice with the Quest device, and you don't with the PlayStation VR 2 in comparison. So with mods like that, and just the fact that it's supported on the PC, it really expands the library of games available to you. Let's not also forget the fact that the Quest 3 is compatible and backward compatible with Quest 2 and even Quest 1. Like, you can play all the Quest library on this device, which is crazy. I mean, that's just like, it's such value for money when you think about that. And that's something that the PlayStation VR 2 cannot say is not compatible with the previous library stuff. And I think for pound, we're getting more updates for Quest 3 versions of games, as well as sequels compared to the PlayStation VR 1's exclusive so far. Now, some of the downers is that I find that navigating between Quest games that are the headset and like PC, and then trying to figure out which one do I get. Do I get the Steam PC version, or do I get the Quest PC version, or is that version running on the device exclusive as run on the PC? It's kind of weird and kind of difficult. I was really struggling to find where I could buy first version of Asgard's Wrath, one of the system sellers of the Quest 2, I think it originally came out for. I don't know, it's kind of was a little bit tricky to just try and find it and buy it. It was like they almost didn't want me to buy it. It was kind of weird. I couldn't understand why and what was going on with that. So I find that sometimes the library thing's a little bit weird, because you can't see your library on the PC that you have for the Quest in the app, but then you can see the library in the device itself, but then you can't see this here and this that. It's kind of like, man, dude, can put everything centralized in like one place, and this is for your Quest headset, this is for PC. And it would be nice to kind of know that you're not buying duplicates. If you've got a version on Steam already, you don't necessarily want to buy the Quest version of the same thing that's already on Steam that you already own potentially. You know, so that part of it can get, navigating the library can get kind of tricky and kind of confusing, I find. Quite a puzzle. On top of that, when it is a game that is on the device itself, it can be a little bit tricky to capture. It can be a conundrum to capture it, especially if it's not tethered via PC. If it's capturing via PC, it's a lot easier because you just do the same methods. You get something like an OBS or whatever, just do your thing. This is more content creators thing. It's not necessarily a thing then for consumers, but even as a consumer, if you just want to capture the gameplay out of the headset onto a device, it can be a little bit tricky than, say, the PlayStation VR, where you just plug it in, you play it as normal, and people can see it on the television and the device you're connected to. You don't have to do anything. But with the Quest 3, you do have to think about all this stuff and kind of learn something. It's not super complicated in certain scenarios, but you still have to kind of figure that part out. It's not just plug and play, which is the experience with PlayStation VR 2 in comparison. This is especially true if you're a content creator and you want to get the best quality you can. Then, you know, it's a little bit compromised. It's a little bit not perfect. And depending on what quality you're willing to accept, is going to be dependent on how easy or hard you want the whole thing to be in the first place. So that's something to think about, especially if you don't want to record from the device and then transfer it over to your PC and all that kind of RIM-RAM. What's RIM-RAM? That's made up a word. So it's worth knowing at time of recording, you can bag Asgard's Wrath 2, a big time system seller. It's kind of been considered as a game that is actually even better, or as good as, if not better, than Half-Life Alyx, which is kind of the benchmark standard of like VR games now in terms of AAA and that full experience. So you can get that free up to now with the purchase of the Meta Quest 3 up until March the 30th of 2024. So yeah, you still got some time if you're watching this early. And getting such system exclusives is a must, especially with things like Assassin's Creed Nexus VR, as well as quite the experience, highly rated by many. I've had a fun time with that. Heck, I'm having a fun time with the first Asgard's Wrath, which we're still working on at the moment to work up to 2. But even that one's worth a play, and it works perfectly on the Quest 3. And then there's other mixed reality experiences. Assassin's Creed Nexus has a mixture of mixed reality and VR, which is again like mixing your real world, in case you're wondering, with virtual reality things. That could be floating screens or a whole UI environment or things going on in your real world environment. It could be zombies coming through the window or something like that. It's basically what mixed reality does. Other mixed reality system sales are things like Piano Vision, which lets you play with an actual piano while seeing things going on, or it can actually just do a virtual thing for you. So you'll be doing like Beat Saber with a piano almost. So it's very cool. And then you have things like Lego Bricktales, which, yes, it's available outside of the Quest ecosystem headset system, but it's the only version that allows for mixed reality. So you could be building Lego on your desk. You're building Lego on your desk and look like a complete and utter weirdo, while at the same time being super cool. I mean, that's just, I need to get it. I need to get this thing, you know, and it's a pretty sweet pretty sweet deal, pretty sweet thing. You have to also remember the Quest 3 isn't just for gaming, right? So its versatility extends to work. I think I kind of touched on this already earlier. Creativity, development, if you like to mess around in Unity game engine or Unreal game engine and so forth, then this is one of the devices to kind of just test that kind of stuff and get it going really easily, and probably the most affordable way. Good luck getting a PlayStation VR 2 development kit. I don't even know how that even begins to work. I don't even know. I don't know. But it makes it a multifunctional powerhouse. And that's a ChatGPT line, right? Hey, if you don't ask, you don't get, and asking you shall receive. So if you haven't liked and subscribed already, this is a great point. Just got some great value already, great nuggets. And also check out justvrgaming.shop for your boy, where there are more cool VR gaming stuff. I've got some really good stuff coming in stock. Stranger. Cool membership stuff, behind the scenes stuff. You can see the whole VR setup here that we've got going. There's a newsletter that we're developing. We might develop in a magazine. There's some really cool things. Check those out. Let's get back to it. Meta's hopes and intentions with VR is very evident, so their backing is very secure compared to Sony's kind of thing. I don't know if they're fully committed as far as exclusives and so on, but with Meta, that's one of the benefits, that they definitely have both feet fully in the VR market, and are definitely one of the leaders, especially for the consumer side of things. Definitely driving the technology forward. I don't know who's going to be using the Apple one. The Apple one's expensive as. The Quest 3 also ups the ante on comfort, although I have admittedly changed the strap, which is this was even more comfortable. But the stock one is lighter. It's easier on your head. You don't get the lines, especially you got that with PlayStation VR 1. It makes those long VR sessions more enjoyable overall, which is important. Now, if only the battery agreed with the longer sessions part I just mentioned. As I said, really, while the default strap is an improvement, it's still pretty basic for such a premium device at a premium price. So you might find yourself eyeing an upgrade like the Zyber here that I've got, and I've got a video for that. It's pretty sweet. Cheaper than the official strap and much more comforting and much more flexible, as you kind of see here. As I'm moving bits and pieces around, it's pretty good. But the problem with that, obviously, is that you're spending more money again. So yeah, this VR stuff is not cheap at the moment. Remember to use the Amazon links if you're going to get it though. Appreciate the free support. So obviously with its leaping hardware, you're getting 4K, you're getting better visuals here. A more powerful GPU means better performance. You're getting improved cameras, controllers, general hardware improvements that just make for a much more premium device, as well as a more premium experience potential. And of course, with that premiumness, you get to have the most advanced and fully fledged experience when it comes to combining it with PC, and even there's things like options where you can set up multiple boundaries for different rooms and so forth, so you want to make sure you don't smash yourself when you're doing your virtualizing in life, but with great power comes great strain, and that means the battery life on this thing, oh man. Now, while it's understandable with the advent of mixed reality and all the things that's going on with this device, the battery is pretty poor. Offering maybe 2 hours wireless and 4 hours wired, it's not a lot, because unlike the Quest 2, this thing leaks battery even when it's not connected, even when it's not running. Like, this was at 100%, I just turned it on accidentally a few hours ago and it's at 96%. Doesn't make any sense. That didn't happen with the Quest 2 at all, really. So you might need to invest in a powerful external battery. One I have is pretty good. This is a 20,000 mAh one, so this to charge it, I think it's gonna do like a full charge maybe or something like that. I can't remember. The thing takes like a whole day to charge though, but it otherwise is really good. It's just that you kind of need to invest in this if you want to go longer. So I think this adds like maybe 4 hours. I want to say about 4 to 6 hours, 20,000. Which helps a lot. But again, more money again. So I'll put an Amazon link to this to remind me. So yeah, external battery like that and a fast USB-C cable is going to be needed as well. Otherwise, even when it's connected, like even with my cable, that's a decent one, again, third party, I'm finding that it's still leaking charge. You used to be able to connect the USB-C cable to the Quest 2 and it would actually just keep in position. It wouldn't lose any battery life. It would just stay. But I had it connected in Asgard's Wrath 1 and the thing just kept going and going and going and going and going down. It didn't make any difference that it was connected. You need a really good cable. You need a really good battery if you want to go longer than the 2-4 hours, wireless and non-wireless. It's crazy. Also, the sticker price pain doesn't end with the battery or the headset itself. It also comes with any official accessories. For some reason, the Meta Quest accessories are just super expensive. They're really like, I'd recommend you just go with third-party stuff that has good ratings on Amazon or what have you. Wink, wink, use the links, because their prices are really high and you're already paying a lot for your device depending on which version you go for. So the Quest 3 currently will set you back at £453 in UK money. That's about $499 US. Was it $499? $199 US. Let me double check that actually. Yep, that is indeed correct. And then you add about 100 to that if you want the 512 gigabyte version. This version I have is the 128 gigabyte version. You can double that space by getting the 512 version and double it. That's not double, it's more than double, isn't it? 100, 200, yeah, well, you know what I mean. You can get more space, pay for extra 100, so that's even more cost again. I think 128 gigabytes is enough if you're willing to kind of rotate the stuff that you have on the device, and that's for like the games that are going to run on the device itself, not the stuff that runs on PC. If stuff that runs on PC, it stores on your PC. Stuff that runs on here installs on here. So PC VR is not the problem for your space. Only anything that's the headset, like Assassin's Creed Nexus VR, for instance, has to install on this, and that's what will take up your space along with whatever default stuff is on there. 128 gigabytes, I got about half still with some of the stuff installed. So I think you'd be fine if you are rotating stuff around. If you want to keep everything on one system, then you're gonna have to consider the 512 gigabyte one, which is gonna be extra £100 to your wallet. And it's worth saying in terms of privacy, and people have been obsessed about this, and so it's something to consider if you have a problem with it. You do need a Meta account to use these devices, which you need a PlayStation account to use a PlayStation 1 fully anyway. So I don't know. It's like at some point you're going to need an account these days for everything pretty much. And there's no exception with the Meta device. But I know some of you are with Facebook / Meta. I mean, to me, if you're on the internet, everything is tracked anyway. So forget the dream of anonymous willy pics, unless you don't mind an AI deepfake version of your penis being available for the world to see within a few weeks thereafter. So overall, how do I rate the Meta Quest 3? Let's get this out of the way real quickly. Oh, this thing keeps turning on even when I'm not trying to turn it on. That's the thing. My final score for Meta Quest 3, I will rate a strong 8.5 out of 10. Let me turn this off. Battery and all that. Let's unbox the PlayStation VR 2. I have to actually stand up for this. So it has a similar opening style to the PS5 had a similar opening inlay thing like this. The outside of the box is matching all the branding of the PlayStation 5. Is this an actual situation where I have to tip over? Here we go. Okay. Disaster. I just need to open it. And I clearly don't have enough room for this. I have a small box here. I'm gonna actually remove everything from this box here. That all fits nicely. Box, get the box out of the way now, so I can get my work room. Okay, let's start with this small box first. The PlayStation VR 2. In the small box we have the the full game download for Horizon VR Call of the Mountain. I still need to finish Horizon Forbidden West, so I won't be touching that just yet, but you just scratch off right there. As you'd expect, you don't get discs for anything these days, but that's what it looks like. And they're right there. There's a whole bunch of terms of service stuff there. We get the guarantee in probably 500 different languages, as per usual, and then we get an instruction manual as well. Bear in mind, this costs more than the PlayStation 5 itself, so especially the disc version anyway. So it's nice that we get a manual. Normally these days it would just be go on the internet, but we're getting something for Wonga. Health and safety stuff, still health and safety stuff. Setup is very simple compared to the original PlayStation VR, where you had to kind of plug out this wire and plug in that wire and this wire and this one. It seems we just plug into a USB-C port on the front, and then we're good to go. Just turn it on. That's it. So go set up there. Very nice. Sense controllers. Remove your VR headset. All the important and good stuff is in the manual here. Get you up and running quickly. And off. About the play area. It's like it's got the see-through mode and so forth that you get with the Quest 2. and one as well, actually. So that's cool. Good stuff. Advice for children. Part names. Next one page, I guess it's not. Sense controller diagram, how to use it, as well as headphones there, or earphones even. Clean and care, specifications, look after your device and it will look after you and all that. And then various support things and compliance and that stuff. Looks like it just comes in English, if you're wondering. Let's take these two out of the box and get that out of the way. We have a USB-C cable. So this is the USB-C cable that comes with it. USB to USB-C. Good stuff. And this looks like the earphone piece that comes with. Like so. Okay. And you have some spare earbuds. You have some spare earbuds to go with it, in case you lose them or just want some clean ones. They like the different sizes as well. So there's two sizes in there, so it could be 3 sizes altogether, including the ones that are supplied on there. Some smaller size one and bigger size one, it looks like. That's the small box. Okay, now it's time to take off the gloves and check out the Sense controllers for the PlayStation VR 2. Let's have a look at these. The design style is very similar to the Quest overall compared to the OG controllers, which were these. So the PlayStation VR 1 used light. VR 2 uses cameras, much like the Quest and Quest 2. So this was the PlayStation VR 1 controllers, very light. This feels very even lighter, actually, strangely enough. So that's interesting. Put that there. So these are quite big, actually. In the width and diameter. We have straps attached to them already, which is handy. See just in the inside there, that is kind of hacked into the device. Don't know if you can remove that or not, if you want to, but it's a nice nice touch. You don't have to lose your straps. So we just, let's see what hand is this one. This one is left hand, probably. Yeah, I think it's left hand, like so. So we would, it's down a bit, one hand through, up a bit. I'm not gonna be able to get this off again now, am I? Oh boy. And let me know if this is right or not. Or I'll let you know in a future video, because we just do VR here. So, great idea to subscribe if you want more VR gaming content. That's all we do on this channel. That's why we call it just VR gaming. I hope I haven't broke something. I feel like I'm doing this wrong though, guys, but you get the idea. It's definitely wrong. Yeah, I've got it in the wrong side. All right, it does come out. I did it accidentally, but let's hope I don't broke it. So there, and then it's it there, and then we just stick it in like that. There we go. And turn it like so, and it's locked in. So you can take them out and through, and there we go. It was very light. It's quite wide space, so you're gonna have to like hold here. It was pretty solid. Matches the style of the. Oh gosh, matches the style of the DualSense controller. So yeah, well, sticks here. 2 sticks. We had the buttons split, so the triangle and square are on the left sense controller, and then your X and circle, cross and circle is on your right controller, which makes sense. Start button, share button, which is the same what we have here on the same sides. Sticks in equal position, just like the DualSense controller. And then underneath an undercarriage here we have trigger button, right trigger 2, left trigger 2, and then underneath we have the main trigger buttons. So we just do like so. Good to go. And you can see similarly here, L1, L2, R1, R2, R2, R1, L2, L1. So yeah, there you go. Feels very light. Feels, yeah, it seems like a lot of space in between, but I'm sure there's a reason for that. That'll make sense. Oh, and I also forgot there's the buttons here, which is the PlayStation button. That's here. It's on both of the controllers here in this design. Now you can click down on the buttons on theirs as well. So these operate exactly the same as your normal controller. And just underneath it as well, we can see charge points right here and right here. Now these are not charged. I might have to stop this video before I even get to charge them. Demonstrate. I suppose this is the unboxing part, so we don't need to really. But yeah, nice. And finally, for our PlayStation VR 2 unboxing, we'll look at the moment you've been waiting for. The thing that costs you the most money on the device, probably, the headset itself. Here it is. Very long cable on the back. Just so you know, this is not a wireless device. Zoom back out a bit here. It is. It actually feels. This feels more. The controllers feel more solid. This feels more kind of. What's the word? I don't want to say cheap, but it does feel kind of plasticky. The inside material feels a little bit more better. No, actually, it feels functional as well, to be fair. I think that Sony here made sure that all the money went into the tech and not too much into the material. It has a bit of a different feel from quality-wise from versus the Meta Quest 2, I would say. Speaking of the Meta Quest 2, so this material is a lot more solid in this. So it's not it's not an issue per se, but it's just worth noting that this feels more. The Meta Quest feels more solid. The materials feel more expensive, should we say. But the technical side of this is inferior compared to this. So Sony would have put all the money in the inside of this rather than the outside. It still looks good. It's just got a similar feeling material. It's got a similar feeling material to the PlayStation VR 1. Which is it. Didn't see. So I don't know. Something worth knowing. But yeah. It's also, just have a quick comparison look again at the controllers of the Quest. They're smaller. The PlayStation ones are bigger. But again, expect more tech going on. You know, I think even the headset vibrates from the PlayStation 1. That's the best there. We looked a bit at the PlayStation VR 1 controllers as well, quite different. You can see what I'm saying is kind of going more along the lines of the Meta design. So, focusing on this, we have a dial at the back here to probably help us lock in. It's normally what you get right on the button, and you can usually pull it up. Which again is a similar design thing from the Meta as well. Not locking in place though. Very noisy. We have to turn it to lock it. Not sure. But anyway, that's the... It probably locks onto some of your head nice and tight. It's probably the thing. I'll try it on in a moment. Obviously you have your eye lenses in there. This is a 4K device going on here as well, so this is technically crazy. And then we have a little piece here that's connected, which is probably where the cable here is coming in from. I wonder why we can seemingly disconnect that. I don't know, probably can't. It looks disconnectable, but anyway. We have the power button underneath the device itself. So let me just do a comparison here again. The Quest 2 has the volume button underneath, but the power button is on the side. Yeah. PlayStation's power button is underneath it. And that's the same, I think, as the PlayStation VR 1 had the power button underneath as well. So that's all good. What's that? Speaker holes possibly there. So power button there. What is that? I'm not sure what that is. But it's a button. And you can press it. It looks like a kind of a refresh button, or maybe we reset in position or something like that. And obviously you have the camera lenses here, much like your Meta, which also has 4 lenses on the outside as well. So again, similar philosophies in that ideology. The PlayStation VR 1, as you know, or maybe you don't know, used lights and an auxiliary camera that would track your movements via looking at the lights on the headset and the controller itself. Even the PlayStation 4 controller had lights on it specifically for that. It wasn't just local, it was how it did the tracking. So now we're in the era of cameras being a better play, because they give you a little bit more flexible, a little bit more complexity. The downside to cameras on the outside sometimes can be, in my experience, that you need better room lighting. The Quest struggles with low light conditions, whereas the PlayStation VR 1 thrived in low light conditions because they could detect the lights on the outside better. So this generally feels, like I said, feels solid, feels okay. The weight is lighter than it feels about either the same weight or lighter. I would say lighter than the Meta Quest 2. I think this is lighter or similar weight to the PlayStation VR 1. maybe slightly, about roughly the same. Nothing major I'm noticing there. This is probably to change your visual range. Yeah, so this is your eyes. So if we go here, as I'm turning this, it just goes up and down. If you look at the lens here, lenses, you'll see it's going wider apart, and it stops at there, maximum. And then as I scroll it back downwards towards me, it closes in. So that's, set to your preference. What else do we have here? You have the Sony stuff there and there. And this here, this material here, this was something, I don't know if you can take this off or not, but this, I think you can. But this is something that you have to decide whether you want to pull it in on the Meta Quest, but it came with it, at least the version I've got. So it looks like all the things. Am I missing anything? Just on first glance, can't see anything there. Those are the buttons. So a solid build. Looks better than the original PlayStation VR 1 for sure. Similar. Looks very placed. It looks very virtual reality, which is appropriate for this channel. And the cable. Let's look at the cable length. This is a long cable, so you shouldn't have any troubles there as well. Let me pause a second. Alright, so while I paused, I got myself a little bit more educated for you guys so I can make an even better video. So yeah, this is the lens adjustment thing, as I said already. This is a vent hose, so I guess it dissipates heat. This button here, I was like, I don't know what this button does. But this button is called the function button. By default, when you press this, it will change to see-through mode, so you can see your environment basically. You can change this to be also an audio mute button by going into the settings and changing that. So that's what this button does, function button. And if you can change it to other things other than see-through mode or muting, but yeah, there you go. So I think, one more thing I want to show you to educate myself even more while paused as you do. So the earphones here will go underneath the device into this slot here. So you guys can see that, right? Into the device like so. And then into this hole here. One in there. Hope I can get back out again. One in there like so. And then if you're not using the earphones for whatever reason, then these hold your earphones in. So you just do like so. And like that. So maybe if you just don't want to lose them, it might be a good idea to stick them in there like that. So that, yeah, there you go. So with all of that done, let's get a fitting going, shall we? Trying on the PlayStation VR 2 headset. Let's put that back in. We can't have that falling out. So we're just gonna push the button down here, pull back on the head, and I'll tell you guys how it feels. And do remember, I'll have a link to this once it's available, if it's not already on Amazon, that you can get your PlayStation VR 2 if you so choose, while supporting the channel for free. And this area here is to block the light. It's doing a pretty good job, I'd say. And I feel I have to get used to it. The light, it's not too heavy at the moment, but I can feel a little bit of the nose area. So I have to make some adjustments. Maybe I need to adjust the lens as well. It's not on right now. So, I need to widen that because it's squashing on my nose. That's a bit better, actually, now I made the adjustment. Yeah, it looks like it's blocking out the light pretty good. I've got pretty good studio light in here, as you can tell. So this is doing a pretty good job. Certainly feels less cumbersome than the PlayStation VR 1. So that's good. How do I look though? What do you guys think? If you want to see how the setup is for this, some tips and various other things, then you should click the video on the screen right now, because this is all we do here at Just VR Gaming. Nothing but the VR gamingness for you. So subscribe for more, let YouTube know that you want more of that, while I go out on the street and see how people think how I look on this thing. There. Okay, I think it's time for Uncle Integer to help you guys figure out whether the PlayStation VR 2 is worth your time and, most importantly, your money, especially in these times. I'm breaking down its strengths and weaknesses across costs, the hardware, and the software. And yes, because I'm that kind of guy, I'll even score it at the end for you and tell you if it's the best fit after all is said and done. And to make your decision even easier, I've got extra videos for you, including a Quest 3 review. Where would I put that thing? This one. And I've even got a video that tells you the differences and weaknesses between the two. I wonder why it's on right now. Now I'm worried the battery's gonna be dead in this thing. I know, I'm amazing. You lucky. Alright, before we dive headfirst into this PlayStation VR 2 review, I should lay down some basics. PSVR 2, as it's abbreviated, is Sony's latest virtual reality headset as I look at my notes here. It's priced at a premium requiring not just your wallet, but also a PlayStation 5, which is more walletage. Walletage a word, to run it in the first place. It boosts enhanced features like an HDR OLED lens, inside-out tracking, and haptic feedback in the controllers itself, setting a new standard for immersive gaming. Sounds like an advertisement, but is it enough to justify the cost to being tethered? Let's find out. Okay, so as you may have gathered, the PlayStation VR 2 is a wired, what they call tethered device. So you can't take this out. Can't take out the cable. It's in there for life. Unless you're one of those YouTubers that like to make custom videos where you rip things out and do kind of crazy things. Unless you're that, leave it in, doesn't come out. This means the benefit of this is you don't have to worry about battery life on the headset, which is great, and definitely something you can't say in certain scenarios with the Quest 3. This means that you can just keep going and not having to worry about battery levels. Right at boss, I was having a problem with worrying about losing my progress in Asgard's Wrath, because even though I had it plugged in, the battery was still going, and that thing just shuts down if your battery dies out. Thankfully, I had enough juice, but it's not something you have to worry about with the PlayStation VR 2. Another benefit of the PlayStation VR 2 is that it is a dedicated gaming device, which obviously brings its own set of advantages and disadvantages depending on how you're looking at it, which we will explore further in this review. And speaking of downsides, of course, however, it does mean that with this thing being tethered, you don't get as much freedom to move around in certain scenarios. Now, this cable's very long. I don't know my feetage or what have you, but I feel like this thing is like 12 feet maybe. So even if you're doing some room scale stuff, this thing should be fine. But it's not the same as obviously having 100% freedom of not having to deal with any cables, which is not an option with the PlayStation VR 2. So those bathroom breaks in the toilet while wearing your VR headset, catching up on YouTube cat videos, is only possible really with the Quest 3. It's not happening with the PlayStation VR 2. And yeah, we don't talk about the whole what we do in the toilets while we're in VR with our Quest 3s. But you know, it's definitely something to take into account. The lack of mobility and wireless freedom could be a step back to some people. So if you really, really value the option of being in wireless, PlayStation VR is not going to be the way to go. So setting up the PlayStation VR 2 is a breeze. It's all plug and play. Just stick the other end here into your PlayStation 5. Follow the instructions on the screen. You're good to go, and it's very Matrix-like, very cool. Got a setup video for that. Remind me to link if I haven't. It's doing quite well, that video. I need to do a Quest setup video. But one of the reasons I haven't got a Quest setup video is one of the points I'm going to make that is also a benefit about this particular section here. As mentioned previously, this has HDR OLED lenses. That means they're not pancake-based. Pancake ones apparently can't have HDR at the moment. And HDR just basically gives you more vibrancy, more color, more brightness, more defined blacks, more defined whites, which obviously helps in immersion and adds to your, as my watch goes off, to your experience in terms of immersiveness and believability and cleanness. Even though this has a GPU chip in the Meta Quest 3, that can make up the difference sometimes in making the games look even better sometimes. Now, because it's a gaming device specifically and it works with your PlayStation, you don't have to do any extra things. You don't have to mod anything. You don't have to change any settings or anything major like that. You don't have to mess with PC configurations or additional software in situations like just capturing it on your screen, you know, if you want to share with the family or just capture for content creation reasons, you know, in your living room, what have you. It's really easy. You just use it, basically. Also, the audio is impressive because it's using the Tempest system, which the PlayStation 5 audio ecosystem, and we know Sony's got a lot of experience with all that audio stuff. So you know it's going to sound great if you're using the audio raw on this device. You're going to be looking behind you and in front of you with that 3D audio and that Tempest audio. So that's got you covered as well. Let's talk about some flip downsides. The simplicity comes with limitations. As I kind of hinted, there's no support for PC VR or mods. One of the mods at the moment that's taking the VR world by storm is the UE2 VR, I think it's called, by 2 VR, who basically released this mod that's freemium that lets you take practically all of your Unreal Engine library, practically half of your Steam library, what have you, and turn those games into VR games. And that's something that's not possible with the PlayStation VR because it doesn't connect to the PC at all. It's a PlayStation 5 only device. They're trying to do some mods and things like that, but you know, who knows when and when, how well so that's going to be supported. Also, look out for videos on UE to VR coming soon, if not already out. Now, because it doesn't run on the PC as well, it doesn't have the visual options and settings that you can have, where sometimes if you're connecting to PC via the Quest 3, you can up the settings even more, and it will be dependent on your graphics card more than just a device, such as textures and different things like that. So that's not an option on this. What you have is what you have. And I suppose that's a general experience and limitation of a console experience, is that you get simplicity, but you also don't get the complexity or options and customizations. So it's a trade-off of full fidelity VR, but then maybe the lenses make up for that as well. So even though I've touched on it a little bit, let's dive a little bit deeper into the hardware aspects of the PlayStation VR 2 for the next few points. Now, this does have haptic feedback, which is basically vibration, but not just in the controllers, but also in the headset. That's wild, and something that the Quest 3 doesn't have. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've always been a big fan of vibrations and things that vibrate, whether in my hands or on my lap. Okay, wait a minute, that sounds like I'm gonna scratch that out. What I mean is that it helps in the immersion to have vibration. You can feel the feeling of a gun when you're using, like, say, a shotgun in Resident Evil 4 VR. You know, you can feel the differences and things like that. It just adds to the immersion, makes things feel more real, and it compensates for you looking like a twat while people are watching, potentially. So anything that boosts immersion is always a great thing to me. Another thing the PlayStation VR 2 boasts in hardware as an advantage and as a unique feature, compared to the Meta Quest especially as well, is the fact that it has eye tracking. Now, I'm looking through my notes and I'm not sure if I've already spoken about eye tracking later on, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself later. Hopefully I won't be. But one of the things with eye tracking is it does kind of two things. One aspect of it is that it allows for experiences like dark pictures, Switchback, VR, or something along those lines. That game's so expensive and it starts at 2 hours, so it's best to get on a discount. But that one has a feature in there where things in the game or thing in the game can see which way your eyes are pointing, so it can be used for things like that. I'm guessing it's going to be underutilized in that aspect though. But also it can be used for what is known as fervent rendering, which is basically a method that improves performance by focusing on rendering the area that you're looking at versus just the area that you're facing. You know, just basically makes things work quicker, less sluggish, without going too technical. It's also just generally built better, looks better than the PlayStation VR 1, which also had a problem with shedding bits and pieces on the back. So, you know, we've got like a better material overall as well. So that's less likely to happen. Just more comfortable. It's not just technically more advanced, but it's also design-wise more advanced than our PlayStation VR 1 friend. Very much a major upgrade compared to the VR 1. There's also a pass-through feature, so when you need to look into the real world, check where the doggo or cat is, or maybe make sure people that shouldn't be watching isn't watching, you know, just in case, make sure not filming or whatever. And you can do that with the PlayStation VR 2. But of course, as you'd expect, it's not all perfect. The pass-through feature is limited to black and white. There's no full color pass-through when it comes to PlayStation VR 2, such as this is the case with the Quest 3. And while you don't have to worry about the battery of the headset of PlayStation VR 2, well, the controllers, let's just say that's a whole different story. Now, their battery caps out around 4.5 hours, which isn't terrible, and that's on a full charge, which takes about 90 minutes for it to charge fully, which again isn't terrible. But we have no problem with the headset battery power, but then we now have to worry about the controller battery power instead. So that's the trade-off here, it seems. You know, it's one of those situations where, okay, we have to worry about the battery and the headset. You're thinking this is great. Get a call from the chick for a little late-night VR and chill. Come to find, no battery power. Cancelled, she ain't coming over for no VR. She ain't coming over for no chill. Thanks, Sony. Which leads me to thinking this might be the perfect moment to caress the like button and subscribe if you're craving more insights into the world of VR-ness. And don't forget to check out justvrgaming.shop for an extra dose of just VR gaming goodness. Goodness me. Let's dive back into reality for a moment. As I mentioned previously, the PlayStation VR 2 does have a pass-through mode, which is really handy when you need to take a peek into reality for a moment, especially without having to take off the headset, which is always handy as well. And as you might expect, it syncs perfectly and seamlessly with the PlayStation 5. Showcasing a thoughtful integration. It doesn't feel like it's something that was an afterthought. It feels like this was the PlayStation 5 was designed with the PlayStation VR 2 in mind, which I don't know if it was 100% the case with the PlayStation VR 1 necessarily. Although it did have a Move controller thing, but it feels like it was kind of hacked together somewhat, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, it fits all the hardware well and works really nice. However, despite having to pass through, the PlayStation VR 2 lacks a massive thing compared to the Quest 3, which is one of the big selling points of the Quest 3, which is the mixed reality, which is really freaking awesome when you experience it. It's kind of a big deal. As I mentioned also as well, that the pass-through is black and white. Quest 3's one's full color. So like I said, it's very different when you're taking a little toilet break and you can't really see everything, much less reach the toilet with your VR headset like you can with the Quest while taking and just doing cleaning the bathroom. This limitation also narrows the scope of games it can support. So for instance, the exclusive Assassin's Creed Nexus VR blends mixed reality and VR seamlessly together. There's these sections where you go in and you have to kind of pull these puzzle pieces together in 3D and move around to see what's going on so you can get it in the right place. And then you go back into the Aminus and things like that. That's not possible on PlayStation VR 2 because it doesn't have mixed reality capabilities. So even if it wasn't an exclusive, it wouldn't work on there anyway. Another thing I want you to consider, that's a real thing to consider here, hence why I want you to consider it, is that you do need a PlayStation 5 to be able to use the PlayStation VR 2. And that means extra costs if you don't already own a PlayStation 5. So this tethers you to the console itself, obviously, and by extension, a specific room, unless you're going to carry up your PlayStation 5 and then your PlayStation VR to a different room. It's a little bit more cumbersome to do that. Now, the PlayStation VR 2 is priced at £529. That's about $550, which is actually more money than the PlayStation 5 itself. So that becomes a significant investment. You're talking about a grand's worth of investment before you even bought a game. I think you typically get Horizon, Call of the Mountain free, but outside of that, you're buying all those games yourself, which is especially a consideration in these times right now, as is not necessarily all times, unless you're rich, in which case, you know what to do, you know where to look at. Did I mention just VRgaming.shop for more VR gaming content and goodness, in case you are in that boat? And even if you're not in that boat, you should still just check it out. Okay, enough selling. So this time with the PlayStation VR 2, compared to the PlayStation VR 1, it's launched with an impressive amount of games in the library. It's roughly about double in comparison to every period compared to, at least that's what I saw on Reddit, which is great. That's one of the things that people worry about a lot with VR is there isn't any games. There's games now. There's definitely games. And in terms of every AAA game being VR, not necessarily. More so with the mod, but again, we don't have the mods to turn Unreal Engine 5 and 6 stuff into 5 and 6, 4 and 5 stuff into VR like you have with the Quest. But there's still more games than there was in the previous generation, 100%. And that's even when you're not including exclusives. Mostly they aren't exclusives anyway. A vast improvement in content out of the gate. Specifically, what stands out is pretty much anything that Capcom make for VR for the PlayStation exclusively, especially Resident Evil's VR modes. Specifically, Resident Evil 4 Remake VR mode is absolutely sick. It's the best performing videos on the channel up to this point, which was surprising, especially as Let's Plays and gameplays. That is definitely one of the highlight system seller games, even with there being a version on the Quest and Quest 2 that you can get. This one is for the remake, which makes it unique still, and is it's an experience. The mechanics of reloading, the razor sharp visuals. Man, it's a horror experience, a new heights that needs to be experienced. It's kind of an interesting hybrid system seller in a way. Yeah, it's a must play on PlayStation VR 2. Conversely, though, the platform isn't without its shortcomings, obviously. The section of exclusive titles feels a little bit sparse. Innovative features like eye tracking and the head vibration even, they don't feel like they're leveraged enough. I haven't noticed any head vibration as of yet. I don't even know if it's in Resident Evil or Remake VR. I couldn't tell you. If it has, I haven't really felt it. But it doesn't feel like those things are utilized enough to make it your purchasing decision alone. Like with many Sony technologies that are unique, they don't get used enough oftentimes, unfortunately. Same is the case with the DualSense controller, which I'm looking for in the background. I don't know where I put it over there. But even with the DualSense, its features are underutilized, and you don't always get them, even on the PC versions, unless it's Sony's own games. So that can be frustrating at this point. We only just got it in Cyberpunk for I don't want to swear, what was I going to say, for freak's sake? It took a while for them to put it in there. So, it's that's one of those concerns. If you're buying it for the technology, sometimes you have to be careful about that because it depends on how many studios actually support it. And with Sony not necessarily making loads of exclusives for the PlayStation VR 2, those are the ones that you would rely on usually to definitely utilize and show the technology could be used. So that could be risky because I don't feel like there's a lot at the moment. Another problem is the fact that the PlayStation VR 2 is not backward compatible with PlayStation VR 1, not as an upgrade in terms of visuals. It just doesn't work full stop. And that's disappointing because there are quite a few PlayStation VR 1 titles and there's a shed more exclusives than there is PlayStation VR 2 exclusives right now. So it means that if you want to kind of catch up or experience those titles for the first time, you're going to have to invest in a PlayStation VR 1 and you're going to have to obviously ask Sony for the converter thing. I think there's a thing you can buy now that you can just buy on Amazon, but otherwise they have to send it to you. And I don't think they send it to you free anymore now because there was a period for that. So that's a problem as well. And it's an extra cost if you want to do that. So yeah, no enhanced fidelity, no sequels announced that I'm aware of for the PlayStation VR 1 hits, such as, is it Blood and Wine? Not Blood and Wine, Blood and Dust, Blood and Sand? I forget what it's called. So yeah, those are all concerning things. And it makes you wonder, therefore, outside of being a library type system where you can pick between, like, say, a Quest or a PlayStation VR 2, outside of that, exclusives wise and so forth, how much commitment is there from PlayStation and Sony in the VR 2 market? Are they just kind of relying on the strategy of other studios to develop for it? Or are they actually going to be building exclusive stuff for it the same way, with the same dedication as maybe a Meta or what have you? It's hard to tell at the moment as the studio exclusives are lacking. Look, the reality is I've got a lot of love for virtual reality, mixed reality, and that includes the PlayStation VR 2 in terms of that love as well. If it aligns with your needs and your budget, it's undeniably a top-notch device. Marks a significant leap forward compared to PlayStation VR 1 and the Quest 2 and the Quest 1. It looks cool, looks great, and it does in the right circumstances stand as a good alternative to the Quest 3, especially if you already possess a PlayStation 5 and have the money for it. So now, on a scale of 10, where 5 signifies an average device and experience, and anything below that signifying a below subpar experience, or below average, and 10 represents a near perfection in an imperfect world. PlayStation VR 2 was teetering close to either side of a half-point mark for me. However, weighing everything together, doing the research, as well as personal experience, I've settled on a solid 8 out of 10 for the PlayStation VR 2, aka PS VR 2, if you will. This score reflects its strong performance, its innovative features, tempered by the considerations and challenges that we've discussed previously, provided that it fits for you. If you're already equipped with a PlayStation 5, the PS VR 2 might just be the next logical virtual step in your gaming journey. Especially if mixed reality, PC compatibility, and modding and robust lineup of sequels and exclusive titles aren't the deal breakers for you, then it's definitely going to be a good option for you to go for, I'd say. For a broader perspective, take a look at the Meta Quest 3 review and comparison videos appearing on your screen right now, and make the choice that best suits your VR gaming needs. I'll catch you there. But yes. You see my reviews for PlayStation VR 2 and the Meta Quest 3. Links in the description and the pinned comment if you haven't. Now it's time to have both devices go head to head in a versus battle. A direct comparisons war to the death, or at least until the end of the video. First things first, ChatGPT, help a brother out. The Meta Quest and the Sony PlayStation VR 2 represent the latest achievements in VR technology. Yes, I'm reading direct from notes. Each offering immersive gaming experiences with high resolution displays, advanced tracking capabilities, and robust game libraries. While Quest 3 is a standalone device emphasizing portability and mixed reality experiences, PlayStation VR integrates closely with the PlayStation 5, offering unique features like haptic feedback and eye tracking, setting a new standard for console-based VR gaming. Quest 3 at time of typing though, at base model even, costs a £453 or $500 US. PlayStation VR 2, not including the PlayStation 5 console, which is cheaper than the VR device itself, if you can believe that, reaches at £529, which is roughly $550, he says while looking at his notes. Let's VR fight, or rather fight! So the PlayStation VR 2 is tethered, aka wired. You can't pull out the cable, you're stuck with it. Quest 3 devices, since the first one, are able to be wired or wireless. Take your pick. Portability, Quest 3 wins there. And the Quest 3 lasts about 2 hours, wireless without an external USB-C battery attached to it, that's for sure. No such problems obviously with the PlayStation VR 2, but of course you're wired. I don't know, I guess in this case it's a win for the PlayStation VR 2 there. Don't have to worry about the headset battery. Quest 3 controllers use AA batteries. As you can see here, PlayStation VR uses an internal battery. PlayStation VR 2, I should say specifically. Thus, you can game way longer if you have rechargeable batteries, and that's the play here with the Quest 3 controllers, than you can with the PlayStation VR 2 controllers, which need to be in a dock or a dock station, charging station or something. Or you can buy another one, I suppose that's more money again. So this is cheaper when it comes to going longer. This one requires more investment, or very disciplined gaming lasting about 4.5 hours. On a full charge, takes about 90 minutes to charge. So yeah, Quest 3 wins there. So the PlayStation VR 2 has eye tracking, which allows you to have a more immersive experience, like NPCs being able to track if your eyes are looking at them or not when they're talking to you, to make sure you're disciplined and loyal, male or female. It also uses this feature to improve performance by prioritizing rendering where you're looking and not just where you're facing. This technique is called foveated rendering. Quest 3 doesn't have any of this. Of course, in the case of immersion techniques with eye tracking, developers still have to implement it. And thus far, there isn't enough experiences necessarily to justify buying the PlayStation VR 2 just for eye tracking alone in terms of immersive experiences. But for performance and so forth, as an option, PlayStation VR 2 wins there. PlayStation VR 2 also has vibration on the headset. I like things that vibrate. I don't know about you guys. Again, something the Quest 3, 2 and 1 do not have, but also again something developers have to implement, otherwise it might as well not exist. And you know how it is with Sony stuff. A lot of times the unique stuff are just not implemented, but it's there, so another win for PlayStation VR 2. Okay, apparently mistakes were made. I deleted this part, so I have to do it again after the fact, hence my makeup might be a little bit off. Wish I'd have done something about this. The Quest 3, as this one, has full color pass-through, whereas the PlayStation VR 2 is restricted to black and white only. In addition to the full color pass-through that the Quest 3 sports, it also has the ability to do mixed reality or augmented reality apps and games, which is very cool, whether it be the piano vision thing where you can play with your piano in real life, or use a virtual thing. It's almost like Beat Saber with piano, and you can apparently learn. It's apparently pretty good. I still haven't run it yet. Need to run some tests and some videos on that on the channel. Or Assassin's Creed Nexus VR is a great example where you're mixed in with this kind of 3D puzzle thing. You have to kind of look around and move these pieces into place, and then you're back into the normal VR mode, so it mixes the two, and it's obviously not possible with something like PlayStation VR 2. It doesn't have that. So that's another punch in the balls, or kick in the balls, to the PlayStation VR by the Quest 3. On top of that, Quest 3 with its PC compatibility just has a crazy library. Even without the backward compatibility, you just have pretty much anything that's on your PC now that's Unreal Engine 4 or 5 with the mod can be used with this thing. On top of just anything you can buy that says VR is compatible with the Meta Quest 3 and 2 actually, really. So, you know, compatibility wise and library is crazy. This one can't compare in comparison in that aspect, and therefore the Quest wins there as well. So another punch in the face, and then a drop kick to the knees, and then a kick in the face afterwards by the Quest 3. Alright, got it fixed now, I can go eat dinner. Oh yeah, as an addendum, this does not only require the PS5 console, but it can't work without it. So that's another kind of minus compared to the flexibility and library of this piece, right? PlayStation VR 2 is not backwards compatible with PlayStation VR 1. The Quest is with all of the Quest library. None of the peripherals from PlayStation VR 1 do work either, but then I suppose it's the same with the Quest 3, so that doesn't really make a difference. Quest 3 is definitely at more risk of upgrading previous experiences. Obviously, when you use games that was for Quest 2 or Quest 1, you will get benefits just in the lenses alone, and things like Asgard 2 is going to get Quest 3 upgrade soon enough if it hasn't happened already. On top of this, because it runs on the PC, obviously you're only limited by the hardware of your PC more than the device itself on its own. The punch knocks out the PlayStation VR 2 from the Quest 3 right there. I'd also say commitment wise, the Quest 3 feels more comfortable in terms of, you know, investment and so forth. Meta are definitely heavily invested in VR and AR. I think they've spent billions of dollars on it already easily. And in fact, they spent like billions of dollars just getting GPUs to do this stuff from Nvidia. And Nvidia are very happy about that. Sony are definitely in the race, but the lack of studio investment for making VR exclusive games at the moment, or PlayStation VR 2 exclusive games, and lack of sequels and the lack of backward compatibility makes this a concern. So yeah, the Quest 3 wins there as well. Another difference is between the people who like and subscribe from a video being exponentially higher when you ask. So thanks. Also, check out justvrgaming.shop. That's another thing people do exponentially higher when you ask them, apparently. Especially when watching videos like this. Quest 3, in addition to PC compatibility, has library boosting mods like UE VR, or is it UE2 VR? Anyway, this thing makes Unreal Engine 4 and 5 games compatible with devices like the Quest 3. That's like something like 11,000 or 10,000 games, I think it was. That's crazy. That's definitely a win for the Quest 3. I almost said PlayStation VR 2. It's definitely a win for the Quest 3. That's a big drop kick. I'm getting tethered by the wire trying to keep it up. Damn it. Quest 3 is cheaper as well, especially if you already own a capable PC for PC VR stuff. And that's optional because you can just use the device. So it definitely wins in terms of cost as well. You don't need a console, for instance. So that's another punch and drop kick in the balls there. However, coming back, PlayStation VR 2 has those OLED lenses, and those OLED lenses are HDR. That means the colors are a lot more vivid and it'll just look nicer on the eyes. The coloring, the plushness, the full whites and full blacks. Wait, it sounds like something else. Well, you know what I'm saying? It wins in terms of color with those HDR OLED lenses. So that's a drop kick, punch in the face from PlayStation VR 2 for that one. Better visual fidelity, yeah. Now, the Quest 3 has a newer version of the Snapdragon GPU from Qualcomm, I think it's believed. Sounds like eggs, like fish eggs. Better graphics engine means better graphics and performance, I guess, and thus better software level graphical capabilities. So the Quest 3 wins there, at least in the hardware part. Now, Sony's history though with audio and headphones should speak for itself. And with that in mind, it's no surprise that with the Tempest 3D, it gives better audio out of the device itself. For raw audio and 3D, Sony are the masters when it comes to that. So PlayStation VR 2 wins on that one. Headset sweating wise, especially with the material that defaults with the Quest 3, I think it's more capable and culpable of sweatness. It's a nice material, but a sweaty material. It's kind of like a cloth almost. Whereas the PlayStation VR 2 has this kind of rubbery, maybe less premium, but more sweat friendly. I don't know. I think generally as well, the fans seem to work a little bit better in this device to keeping you cooler versus the Quest 3. So PlayStation VR 2 wins for coolness and sweat friendliness. Okay, so storage comparisons are kind of weird when it comes to the PlayStation VR 2 and the Quest 3 because this one has an internal storage, obviously because you can use it portably. This one doesn't. But effectively, your space is dictated by what you have on your PlayStation 5 console when it comes to PlayStation VR 2, and then it can be either your PC or the device itself, depending on what you're playing and how you're playing it when it comes to the Quest 3. So I guess they don't really beat each other because they're different, but it's worth noting the differences there. 128 gigabytes by default, 100 extra pounds or dollars for the 512 gigabyte version, and then you're just limited by what you can stick on your hard drive on the PlayStation 5 variable. The Quest 3 has hand tracking and the PlayStation VR 2 doesn't. Hand tracking is dope, so definitely a drop kick into the butt from Meta Quest 3 there on that front. And also, obviously, the Quest 3 has work, productivity, fitness, meditation, Zen, and mixed reality apps. I mean, whatever capabilities, there's loads of capabilities. PlayStation VR 2, for better or worse, is focused on gaming, and maybe in some cases it might do gaming things a little bit better because of that. This has much more flexibility, so I guess the Quest 3 wins in the flex. So even though I put this point together previously, it really was separate. So I just want to emphasize again that this device has HDR in the lens and everything else. This one doesn't. And that's because this one is a pancake lens. This one isn't. Pancake lenses don't like HDR, can't do HDR, and thus this one uses Fresnel lens, hence HDR. But apparently pancake lens is otherwise better. So Google it if you want to know more about that outside of the HDR part. So they kind of equally punch each other in the face there, and they both got a black cloud in either eye. Also, I don't know what a big deal it is or not, but it depends what you like, I suppose. PlayStation VR 2 controller uses the classic ring style design on the controller, whereas the PlayStation, the Quest 3 is ringless now. So I don't know, you guys tell me in the comments which one you prefer, but that's like, I don't know, preference. I guess this one's more bulky because of that, so maybe this one wins because of that. I don't know. What do you think? And the winner in the blue corner or white corner, I don't know who the winner is. You guys will have to decide, because I think you should check out the videos that I made for reviews for each of these, which might give you an idea which one's better in my estimation as I score both of them. However, 'cause I know people are going to ask me if I had to pick one of them, especially if I had a capable PC already as I do, I'd likely go with the Quest 3. Just for the sheer flexibility, the support that is more assured, the extensive library with the backward compatibility and so forth. However, if you already own a PlayStation 5, then getting the PlayStation VR 2 exclusively or in addition to the Quest 3 might be more of the play. Both devices have a healthy library, and Sony's machine does seem to be supported as much, if not in the exclusive sense. If you're just looking for an alternative option for a VR game to play, if a review says it looks better on this one, you could go with this one or so forth, that kind of luxury. So there's enough there that the parity is there when it's non-exclusive. Albeit it seems sometimes the PlayStation VR 2 ones come out a little bit later than the Quest one, at least in some games here and there, but maybe that's not the case anymore. Maybe that's not a thing to really think about or worry about. Advancements in terms of HDR can make the colors better for certain games and certain experiences in this one. And the extra immersion with the features and so forth, if developers implement them, like the vibration on the head, giving you a nice pound to your head if you get shot at. The eye tracking, definitely underutilized in games. So, because again, if they do the eye tracking and they have to make it so that they check whether it's on this device or this device, whereas most other things they probably just make it so that it just ports to every one of them easily. So it might not be supported enough to justify just buying for the unique features of PlayStation VR 2 alone in that sense though as well. So in an ideal world, I would say both devices obviously, because then you get to pick and choose and you don't miss out on anything like the amazing Asgard series obviously, or Assassin's Creed Nexus VR, Piano Vision, you know, there's like so many cool stuff on both devices. It sucks to miss out on them, you know. One of you guys were lamenting that it sucks that you can't play the Resident Evil 4 remake VR because you don't have this device, so you don't have a PlayStation full stop. So, you know, you have to weigh up all the costs and so forth. On the screen now, those reviews I mentioned that will help you make a decision if you have to pick one or if you're going to pick up both. Remember to use the links, and the Amazon links cost you no extra. And check out the stuff in the description and the pinned comment for more awesome gamingness. That is the VR at Just VR Gaming. Fight! No, wait there.